presentation. I think there's loads of parallels between our findings, and obviously we both have a passion for nature and big free resources that are essential to positive well-being. So I'd like to share with you the WAVE model today. It's a positive psychological theory of the sea's effect on well-being. So I grew up in Cornwall, and I've always loved the sea. I love surfing, and I wanted to explore what that magical feeling is that I get after sea immersion, and wonder if anyone else experiences the same. That's good. And try and put it into some kind of model. So what we're going to look at today is why I did this research, how I did it, what was found, and what this means for the future of positive psychology and coaching psychology. So I've just finished the MAPS EP course, and I'm a coach as well, so I'm looking at creating this as an intervention to use as a kind of coastal coach. Okay. So currently, as Paul said, there is quite a lot of research into the effect of nature on well-being. This has primarily focused around green space, which is now moving into blue space, and proximity to bodies of water and the sea. But there isn't any current PPIs or much literature or research on actual immersion in the sea. There is a multidisciplinary allegiance of psychologists, neuroscientists, and health researchers that form the team called Blue Health. And this is based on a book by a guy called Wallace J. Nichols in California called Blue Mind. So when we go about our daily stressful lives, we're in a state of red mind. And this comes from all the stimulation we get from stress, from computers, our smartphones, we're constantly being nagged by things, and we're in red mind. But when we go near water, whether it's just in a bathtub at home or in a shower, maybe it's the negative ions, maybe it's something else, we go into a state of blue mind. So we calm down, we become more focused, more relaxed, and our well-being increases. There has been research into cold water immersion. You may be familiar with Wim Hof, that's the kind of thing at the moment. But that doesn't really, the cold water immersion has been shown to alleviate depression, but I think that was trialled with taking cold showers, and that's what people are familiar with. But that doesn't incorporate the element of nature. So that's why I looked at sea immersion. There are currently some applications using sea immersion to treat mental health, and this is focused in Cornwall, which is nice. There's two charities. One's called Surf Action. They take war veterans and they put them on surfboards to treat PTSD, which is great. So these are people who are quite close to suicide in some cases, with severe depression. Quite often they've lost limbs, and they'll get them surfing. And this has had a tremendous positive effect on their mental health and well-being. Also, doctors in Cornwall and Devon are now prescribing surf therapy for young people to improve their resilience, their sense of well-being. And the first of its kind, there was a 2-week study for depression where these researchers prescribed open water swimming for 2 weeks on a 24-year-old, and a year later she's now drug-free, and she's just been open water swimming to treat her depression. So there is a future for it, and hopefully we can create a PPI and make it a bit more mainstream. Okay, so I did a grounded theory. I took 8 participants from a range of different countries. We had the UK, Denmark, USA, Italy, and Dominican Republic. And I wanted to interview people that are doing a variety of different immersive activities to isolate the experience of the sea and not focus on the activity or the sport. So we had people surfing, sea swimmers, ice dipping in Copenhagen, scuba diving, and yeah, I think I said kite surfing. So male and female, and I interviewed them for 60 minutes to ask them, how does the sea have a positive effect on your well-being? And these were people that self-reported that they use the sea for well-being purposes. So what I found, and this was the model I created, is the WAVE model. So the themes I found, so there, I don't know if you're familiar with grounded theory, but it's an let me get this right, inductive methodology. So we're working from the ground up. We're coding all the transcriptions of the interviews and we're turning them into categories and broader, bigger themes. So the themes I found were awareness, and within awareness is feelings, so positive and negative emotions. Also there was the theme of time, and within time there was mindfulness and stopping. There was also connectedness, and within connectedness was disconnection and spirituality. And the fifth theme was duality or dualism, and this is because there was paradoxes throughout. Connection, disconnection, negative emotions, positive emotions, stopping, yet a sense of continuity. People were saying that they felt inconsequential when faced with the power of the sea, yet powerful enough to have the self-efficacy to brave the temperature to go in. They felt liberated whilst being grounded. There were many, many paradoxes. So within awareness, we had positive emotions, and there was an abundance of positive emotions. This was one of the main reasons people were going in the sea. They said it made them feel better. They were experiencing joy, energy, feeling alive, feeling grounded, feeling wonder, feeling awe, feeling brave, feeling pleasantly surprised, feeling realised. They came out with beautiful things like sensing the need to coexist, that life is beautiful, and a similarity between nature and us, as well as feelings of weightlessness and freedom. There was also negative emotions. So negative emotions was the main reason that people were actually choosing to immerse in the first place. Some of the participants noted having anxiety or depression, and they would choose to go in the sea to feel better. So the negative emotions turn into positive emotions over time. The negative emotions they spoke of were fear, anxiety, and then obviously the physical. I forgot to say that these are people that immerse in the winter, so in hostile weather conditions only. That's what I was interested in, to alleviate the extrinsic motivation of summer and the social interaction, to get a real idea of the intrinsic why that they're going in the sea in these freezing temperatures. Why are they doing that? Okay, so one of them said, it was almost like it's assaulting every sense you've got. And that's when I did put my face in, and that's when I was like, oh, this is what people are talking about clearly. And it was pain. But like a burning pain, it felt like burning. Not that I've ever burnt my face, but it's a horrible burning sensation. So this is somebody who was immersing, I think in February, 4.2 degrees. No wetsuit, just skin swimming. In England. So why would you want to do that? Growth. Okay, so the second theme was growth. So the two categories that came from growth was a sense of challenge. So you're challenging yourself, you're being challenged by other people, potentially. One of them was doing a polar bear challenge to swim every day throughout the winter. And the other category was the self as a process. So we're constantly changing. There was elements of renewing, feeling cleansed, adapting, self-reassuring. And by being able to get in the sea, we're actually imagining ourselves in the future. We're imagining who we're going to be after we've done that immersion. And that leads me on to the third theme of time. So time was interlaced throughout all of the interviews. Participants told their story in chronological order. They spoke of childhood experiences with the sea. They spoke of clawing back time and making time to immerse before their day began, which is a sense of separation between their day and their day. Mindfulness was one of the main categories within the theme of time, as the multisensory experience of the water, of the sea, similar to the sky, it's always changing, so you never know what you're going to get, and you have to be constantly aware, or else you might die. It's very risky. So the very nature of the sea elicits mindfulness. You have to be present. To relax your body and not panic, you have to do conscious breathing. So mindfulness, as well as stopping, taking time out, were the two themes within time. The fourth theme was connectedness. So a desire to disconnect from baggage mentally. Participants were saying they're leaving their problems on the shoreline, and in the water nothing matters, as well as afterwards. They felt a sense of increased achievement, the ability to achieve whatever they wanted to after immersing. They also physically discarded baggage. Some of them swam naked and left their clothes at the shoreline. But they also disconnected from technology, from notifications, from work and stress and other people. A lot of participants loved the idea of being alone on the beach, early in the morning before anybody else could get there, alone with themselves, alone with nature. It's such a rare thing to be able to be alone with that amount of space and that amount of nature. And spirituality, a connection to something much bigger, the universe. Every single participant said the phrase to be part of. They want to feel part of something. So we are so disconnected now, we feel this need to feel part of something because we are part of something. We came from the universe, which before the Big Bang was a tiny little pea and everything was really connected, and now it's getting more and more and more and more fragmented, it seems. And duality. So these two paradoxes, powerless yet powerful, positive and negative, disconnect and connect, show us that there is no separation. They are two sides of the same coin. It is actually a sense of non-duality that we need to be aware of. This is supported by some existing research. So the WAVE model as a wellbeing model is quite similar to PERMA. So you've got the positive emotions, the engagement, the relationship with others and yourself, meaning, the spirituality and a sense of achievement. However, it neglects the duality. The HEROES model of development by Campbell, people were sensing a sense of accomplishment, and then after immersing, they felt so proud, they wanted to share it with everyone, and they wanted to become the teacher. So, very similar to that. And also similar to findings within positive psychology about nature and how nature increases compassion, connectedness, reduces mental fatigue, and increases mindfulness. The interesting thing that I'd like to point out is it answers criticisms that positive psychology is too Pollyanna-ish, like Paul said, with jazz hands. It is about the light and the dark. It is about both sides, and we need to embrace both in order to create a balance, a harmony, not just with ourselves, but with everything else around us. So to embrace positive and negative emotions, to embrace disconnection and connection. And Lomas and Itzvan have spoken about this in their study on dialectics quite recently, that positive and negative emotions are binary opposites of the same force. So the need to feel part of something is very similar to Wilber's hold-on theory. So just like your hand is a whole thing, it's also part of your arm. Your arm is a whole thing, but it's also part of your body. You are a whole being, but you're also part of your family. And your family is whole, but it's also part of your neighbourhood. And this is the same for our connection with the sea. We are whole beings, but we are part of our environment. And we seem to have forgotten our connection with that. I love the oceanic feeling. So Romain Rolland, in a letter to Sigmund Freud, wrote the oceanic feeling to mean being at one with everything. So why did he say the oceanic feeling? Why didn't he call it the mountainous feeling or use another natural environment? Paul Wong talks about a type of happiness, so you may have heard of hedonic and eudaimonia, but chaironic happiness is the happiness you feel when you realise you're connected to something much larger, related to awe. The life model has 5 layers in 4 quadrants. And I feel like we are so obsessed with our bodies and our minds and our relationships for well-being, we are seemingly neglecting the inter-objective, inter-subjective quadrants with the ecosystem. To look at our relationship with the environment is super important. To reconnect with it, to immerse in it, to actually get in it. How often do you actually immerse in nature as much as immersing in the sea is? Something else that's interesting is Daniel Kahneman's multiple self theory. Is that time?
Yeah.
Okay. And he talks about two different selves, the experiencing self, who is experiencing life 100% of the time, and the remembering self. And the remembering self is the one that has the voice. And the experiencing self, although it is experiencing all the memories, the remembering self is analysing the experience in hindsight. So, just skip through this. It's interesting that the self-concept comes up with sea immersion. Like I said before, when you're imagining yourself in the future, having already accomplished the task, you're actually imagining, you're remembering yourself in the future, remembering yourself in the past. So that's how time is intertwined. It's a very philosophical study. We must disconnect from technology, stress, other people, and connect back to nature to enhance our sense of well-being. We are living more and more in a fragmented society. We're constantly being interrupted, and our attention spans are shortening massively. So in summary, sea immersion increases our awareness of sensations, both negative and positive, which increase our sense of mindfulness and ability to be present. That provides us with a challenge which allows us for a possible self to be imagined and remembered, which increases our self-efficacy and our self-belief. If we embrace challenge, we grow. We grow resilience, and we grow self-esteem. Self-esteem and self-efficacy are very much linked. We disconnect from technology and stress, and we reconnect with things that really matter, like our environment and ourself. And we feel part of something, as we need to. I'd love to integrate the WAVE model as a positive psychological intervention in the future. Even if the sea is not available, because I recognise that not everybody lives near the coast, I think we can take these 4 points away. Mindfulness is a key modality, recognising the temporality of emotions, like Paul said, overcoming challenge, building resilience and self-efficacy, welcoming challenge, and growing the self-concept to forecast development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenna. Excellent. Like I say, usually follows